I went to Aldi to get my apple juice. Hi, it's Exploring John. Today we're going to make some apple wine. I went to Aldi and I got enough apple juice to make 2 batches of apple wine. I ended up getting 10 containers per 5-gallon batch. Ended up getting 20 containers of juice. That'll give us 10 gallons of wine, which will break down to 2 5-gallon batches, maybe a little bit more. Okay, I've sterilized my fermenter. Now I'm ready to start pouring in the apple juice. Alright, we're taking our first bottle, cracking it open, and starting our pour. Nine more times, we'll have our 5 gallons. Stuck my hydrometer in here, and I'm getting about 5.5, 6 reading. So we're going to have to add some sugar to it. But we expected that. Alright, I filled up the first 5. Now I'm starting on the second. We're going to have 10 gallons of apple wine. I figured out my sugar. It's a 4-pound bag, so it's going to take all of that. I'll just open it up right over it so it gets everything. I'm just going to pour our sugar in. I need another 1 pound and 7/8, so I measured that out. Because that's, we measured it in cups. 2 1/4 cups is a pound. And we're pouring that in. And we'll let that dissolve. Now with our sugar in there, we're going to stir it in. Stir it up. Just like you'd add sugar to iced tea that you get in the restaurant that's unsweetened. And it'll all dissolve. Okay, got my chemicals together here for the wine. We put in 5 gallons of juice. We're also adding 2.5 teaspoons of acid blend, 2.5 teaspoons of pectic enzyme, 2 teaspoons of tannin, 5 teaspoons of yeast nutrient. Now we'll pour that in the wine and stir it in. So here we go, pouring our chemicals into the primary fermenter. Now we'll stir that in. Now we're stirring all the chemicals in and what's left of the sugar that's dropped to the bottom. Here's my yeast. It's a EC1118. It's like a champagne yeast. It's pretty hardy. And we're going to use that in our wine. Now we could just sprinkle it on top, but we're going to make a yeast starter and it'll really speed things up. I've got 2 drinking glasses here. I put about 2 fingers of 100-degree water in. That's not hot, not cold to the feel. I'm going to pour my yeast in. Now we're going to let it sit there for about 15 minutes at the most just to get rehydrated. Now we'll do the same with the other glass. Now our other packet of yeast, and we pour it in. And we're going to take a napkin and put it over the top of each one. That's just to keep anything from floating into it. So here they are covered up. We'll let them sit there, like I said, 10-15 minutes. And then we'll add some of the must to it. The must is the juice and the chemicals and all, and the sugar all stirred in. At this point we call it must. Later on it'll be changed to wine. It's only been a few minutes. We can see there's some reaction already. Looks like we have chocolate milk in the bottom of these 2 glasses. So we'll give it some more time before we add our must. We scooped up a coffee mug here of the must. And now we're going to pour it in. Give the yeast something to eat on. This way it'll give them a chance to get used to it before they get thrown in the big vat. Now we'll get another scoop of that for the other container. We'll put our napkin back on. And now for our other batch. Pour that in there and let it get used to it. Put our napkin back on and let it sit for a couple hours. It's been 2 hours, so we're going to do some more here. Since this isn't big enough to put this juice in, we're going to pour it into another container. And let's see here. We'll pour the juice in here to get everything we might miss. Swish this around a little bit, then pour that in. Now we'll let that sit about 2 hours. Now we'll do the next one. Alright, we'll take the next one and pour it in. Now to help clean it out, we'll pour some of that apple juice in here. Swish it around a little bit. Then we'll pour that in. Bigger container, more room, we'll let that sit for another 2 hours. It's been a half hour since I added the last juice to this. Look at the foam on that already. That's pretty nice. It's going. Okay, it's been 2 hours. The number of yeast we have has doubled in that time, and we're going to feed them with another scoop. We'll let that sit another 2 hours for it to double up on the number of yeast. Get another scoop of liquid here. We'll go pour that in. Alright, here's a scoop from the other fermenter. Add that in. Keep increasing the number of yeast we have. So when we pour it into the fermenter, it'll really take off. Okay, we're ready to pitch our yeast here. Been letting it multiply all evening, and now it's in with the main batch. And now this batch has been inoculated with yeast. Now we've pitched the yeast in our second vat. We'll cover it up and come back tomorrow and see what's going on. I pitched my yeast last night before I went to bed. It's been about 8 hours. We're going to take a look here. Look at that head of foam already. That's looking real good. Now tonight we'll come back and stir it. We made out big time by going ahead and doing that yeast starter. As we look at our hydrometer here, it's kind of like stuck into the foam. Look, as we pull it, it's breaking it up a little bit. It's a big head on there. Let's see if we can get a reading. Doesn't seem much, but we'll go ahead and punch down the cap. You know, we got to do that every day. Keep the bad things away. Let a little bit of air in. Alright, now we'll move over to the other one. Nice cap on that one too. We'll go ahead and punch it down. Not worried too much about getting a reading. We know it's working by this cap on top and all this white foam that's coming up. This will be some nice apple wine. And it hadn't even been 24 hours yet. We're about 6 hours short of when we put our yeast in. We're back here, day 3. We're opening up the vat that has the hydrometer in it first. Take a look. Yeah, it looks like it's down about an 8 or a 9. Now we'll punch down the cap, get some air into it. bubbles are really coming up now. We'll switch over. Punch down this cap. All right, and until tomorrow. Here we are, day 4. Oh, look at that. Let's get our hydrometer and see if we can get a reading here. It looks like about a little over 4. So at this rate, we're talking about racking this tomorrow. Racking it into our secondary. We'll go ahead and stir it up for now. Get some air into it. Boy, that was quick. Yeast was really hungry. Well, since we did that yeast starter, it really sped things up. All right, we'll switch over to the other fermenter. Give it a stir. It's all those yeast burps coming up. So what we're looking at is tomorrow we're going to rack it into a 5-gallon carboy. No, actually we'll probably rack it into a 6 to give it a little bit of head space. And then we'll put an airlock on that to keep the air out. Here we are, day 5. We look at it. It's down to about a 2, so it's time for us to siphon this off. Alright, so we have our little hose here. Hook it up. Push that all the way down because we want all of it. Alright, we're getting ready to start. There it is. Falling down. Now we're not putting the hose all the way down. At this point we want some air. So this is its last taste of air. Then we'll put an airlock on it and that'll be done. Okay, we finished the first batch. Now we're going to do the second. We'll move our stuff over. Shove it all the way down. Here we go. That's going fine. So we fitted this one with an airlock and it's already starting to bubble a little bit. Now we'll let this one drain out. So we're racking our wine. That's siphoning it from one container to another. Here I am. I racked my wine. I've got 2 containers with 5 gallons each. We'll let it set here a month, rack it again. Then a couple months after that it'll be ready. See you next time. Just gonna have tannin on the side.